What's up, YouTube? So today, uh, sorry about that. So today I want to talk about my first year update. So it's officially been a year since I became a developer. That actually happened while I was at a conference 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. June 12th was my first day that I worked as a developer. So it's June 23rd now. So that was about um, 8 days ago. So yeah, it's been a year since I became since I officially had my first day of my first job as a developer, and, it's been great. It's been great. Um, I'm sorry this video is not as super organized, but I got a lot of things to do. I'm actually working on something right now, so I just went ahead and did a live so that I can just do it. Hopefully, get the information out there. And in trying to do a YouTube channel at the same time, it's really hard because me as a junior developer, that's only now it's only been a year since I actually got hired as a professional developer. It's really hard for me to take YouTube um, too seriously right now because I'm learning every day and I'm doing tutorials and I'm doing a lot of training. So all of those things are pretty overwhelming. And even though I've been slacking with YouTube lately, um, I still haven't had really as much time as I like to get a lot of things done when it comes to my learning, the things that I want to learn. I feel like there's so much more that I want to learn and I have like so little time um, to do it. Or not have so little time, but there's only so much energy I guess I have. And I got a message from Matt Pedigo. I'm not sure how to say your last name, I'm sorry. But he said, "Hey Omar, from a senior dev with 18 years plus. Great job." Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And I appreciate everybody in the comments. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Dennis, Maul, and Matt. Um, but anyways, so so yeah, that I just decided to go live because the way it's out there, I know it doesn't get edited. It looks a little bit messy. I'm not the best public speaker, but at least the video will be out there and you guys can get the information. So, what updates do I have now that it's been a year? Well, as you guys seeing in my 6 month update, I actually got to stay at the company. I made it through the program where through the 6 months where they pretty much were testing me out to see if I was gonna be what they wanted and a contributor to the team. And I made it through those 6 months and I got hired on. And ever since then, I just been working and learning a lot. Now, I don't know if since the whole point of this channel is for me to document things as I go, starting all the way from the bottom. I'm gonna. I guess I'm not afraid to tell you guys things that I just don't know. As long as I'm telling you that I don't know. So one thing that I don't know, it's that I don't know if it's common for people in my position that are just learning, that are in their first year, to feel like they haven't learned as much as they wanted. Because that's kind of how I feel. Um, Not that I'm disappointed in myself, but a little bit. I feel like it's weird. I feel like I have learned so much. I feel like I have learned so much. In a way, I feel like I have learned so much more than I expected, and a lot of things that I had no idea how to do, I now know how to do. But at the same time, I feel like I haven't learned enough, and it's a weird feeling because how can you feel like you learned much than what you expected, but at the same time feel like you didn't learn as much as you were expecting? I don't know how to explain it, but it feels really weird. Um, I guess it's probably because I have learned a lot of things at the job that I now can do, and things that I never even know I needed to know. But then there's also a lot of things that I was hoping that by this stage I could do. Like for example, I was hoping that by the time that I had a full year of experience working at a company, I would be able to learn, like the the languages that we work with there, which are Java and React or JavaScript, and Java in the back end, JavaScript in the front end. And I guess my expectation was that I was going to be able to learn that a lot faster, and be really proficient in it within like, I don't know, within like 6 to 8 months. And then after that, I was gonna know that so well that when I came home, I wouldn't, I wasn't, I, I wouldn't have the need to study it anymore. And instead of studying like Java and Node and JavaScript and things like that, I thought I would have the time to maybe learn like Swift or um, or Kotlin, which in my group we do use Kotlin, but I haven't really touched it a lot. But I was hoping that I was gonna be able to learn one of those languages that you use to build mobile apps, and I thought that by this point I would have a lot more done when it comes to like personal projects, and and that has not been the case. I actually haven't really completed any personal projects at all whatsoever. I have done a lot of training, and I have done a lot of like simple apps just to like teach myself stuff. Like for example, when I was teaching myself Java, and I still am. Um, when I'm doing courses, I make like simple, stupid apps, like a banking app where you just put money and withdraw money. Super simple stuff, just a little bit above of my to-do list, but just to practice those languages. So I have done things like that, but I haven't really finished a lot of projects like I was hoping I was gonna get done by this stage in my career. I know it's only 1 year, but I don't know. I had the hopes that by 1 year I was gonna have like several websites going, maybe having some type of online business that I build using my development skills, which is at the end of the day, it's the main reason why I wanted to learn development. Like yes, getting a job is cool, and I really love what I'm doing, and I and I like my job, and I like what I do there. But at the same time, when I first initially took on this career, it wasn't only because of the possibility of getting a job. It was mostly because the fact that even if I didn't get a job, I would have skills that I could, that I could build things with. Whether it was just, um, I don't know, building some type of app or online business or something. Um, that's the main reason why I wanted to learn development. And even though I'm, really grateful and not really disappointed with anything, I it's now, haven't had the time to build projects on my own that I wanted to build, um, or at least haven't have like enough energy or motivation to do it, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's hard when I work full time, and then when I'm done working, I'm doing tutorials and things like that, and then it's like it's 1 a.m. and I have to be up in the morning. So yeah, I guess just a little bit disappointed on the fact that I wasn't able to get as many personal projects done as I wanted. But that's probably the main thing. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like I have learned so much. Even yesterday, for example, um, was was a good learning experience. I've been on support for a couple of months now. And on support, it just means that me working for a big corporation, they always want some for each team. They always want somebody to be on support. And if you're a senior developer, you're probably familiar with this. If you are not, then this is just more industry insights, I guess, that I'm providing for you. But you need each team needs a person that's on support. For example, in my company, my team is responsible for a big API that's that's used consistently in the main website. So like if that goes down, everything is screwed in the website. So each week we rotate with different people, and somebody's on support, meaning that you have to have your phone on you 24/7 in case something goes down. And besides that, you also have to be present when they're doing like a major update or a major change to the website, just in case something breaks. At least you're there, and you're able to catch it, like, hey, this broke, or API, and we need to fix it right now. So I can either try to fix it or try to call other people in my team that know how to fix it. But that's pretty much what being on support means. It means that you're kind of like the person that's there and that's doing things overnight, and you always have to have your phone on you. So I'm actually on support right now as I'm speaking. So if my phone were to ring because there was some type of issue, I would have to answer that. Or if there was like some type of major update that's going on the website, then we will have to I will have to just make sure that I'm paying attention to everything, looking at the apps and the performance and all that to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Well, yesterday, what's in my hand is just a bottle cap, from a bottle of water. Um, but yesterday, with um, with me being on support, there was yesterday I was on support, and there was a major update that we were doing to one of our databases. So I have to be there, on the phone. We were doing it overnight just to make sure that we don't. If something bad happens, we do it at the time where less users are using the website, so that way it has a minimal impact. So I was on the phone, and I was on the phone pretty much all night until everything was done. There were a couple issues on my side. Um, I kind of made a couple of mistakes, which kind of it felt horrible at the moment because you know every pretty much a lot of teams in the company that could be broken down by this new change that they're doing overnight. Each team has a representative in the in that meeting. It's doing digitally, through like a it's doing digitally. Like, we don't go to the office and meet, but everybody's at their home in their computer, watching their applications, make sure everything is performing correctly. And each team that could be affected by that has a representative, in that digital meeting. So I did something a little bit wrong, or not that I did something wrong, but I did something the long way because I didn't know the easier, short way of doing it. And then when I found out, I felt really bad because it's like we've been up like all night from like 2 in the morning to like 5 in the morning, and people are just sitting there, ready to go. And then I do something that I could do easily. I do it the long way, and then I have to finish it up. I cannot just quit halfway, and everybody's just sitting there, kind of like waiting on me, to make sure that I do what I need to do and that nothing breaks, so that everybody can go to bed. So that caused a lot of anxiety, but at the same time, it was a huge learning experience. It was one of those things that, like, before it happened, I was like so nervous because with me being a junior, um, and being responsible for my representing my whole team, and basically making sure that our app is performing fine, and even doing a little bit of DevOps stuff, which I don't ever do. So I feel really nervous going into the conference call, just in case something went wrong, and something I made a little mistake, and something did go a little bit wrong, which kind of sucked. But at the same time, now that I did it, it's like, wow, I feel like I learned so much from that experience. So yeah, so the whole year is pretty much being a lot of that, just learning a lot every day. Yeah, it is a ton of pressure. It is a ton of pressure. I mean, I wasn't doing anything like super complicated, but it's just something that I have never done before, so I feel really nervous. Um, and then Matt says, experience isn't made up of success story. It comes from the failures and problems. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like if I ever had the same, if I'm ever in the same situation that I was last night where I messed it up, I know that I wouldn't mess up anymore because I know exactly, like, oh, like, there's a way easier way of doing this thing. I don't need to be doing all that. So yeah, I just feel bad because I have people waiting on me, but at the end of the day, I kind of apologize to everybody, and everybody's telling me that it's fine, and nobody seems to care too much about it. But yeah, so another thing that happened recently, which is kind of cool. Um, my company was, if you have me on Snapchat, which you should definitely do, because I don't be on YouTube too often. So make sure you have me on Snapchat and on Instagram. I usually have the my link in the description of my videos. So I'll be on Snapchat, Instagram, and LinkedIn a lot. So that's where you can actually get more updates, pretty much like daily. But if you were on my Snapchat, you probably noticed that I posted a picture, and it was that my job was nominated in the top 100 places to work in IT, and it was the highest ranked and the only ranked retailer, I believe. I don't know if it was the only retailer in the top 100 or in the top 60, something like that. I think it was in the top 100, but but either way, we were the only retailer, or the highest ranked retailer in the top 100. So that's pretty awesome to see that. Um, that I'm working at a company that a lot of people is happy working at, and and actually made it into the top 100 places to work. With, I mean, how many businesses are out there, and for my company to make it there is pretty awesome. Let me see. Um, so 100 places to work in IT. So, anyways, that's cool. That's cool. What else is important that I should probably mention about my first year? Uh, something that's really important, or not really, really important, but something that I think it's it's one of those things that's kind of eye opening. It's we finally got, yes sir, we finally got some yes Matt, we finally got, or not finally, we now have another junior developer in my team that has been doing it for longer than me. Like, it's not her first job, but she's also a junior, so I'm not like the only junior person anymore, which I was for a while. And also on top of that, we also have an intern that's coming from, I think it's Purdue University. And so yeah, so there's like two people that are like, like in their beginning stages also. And with the one person that is also a junior, but that has more experience than me, because she's been working at companies for longer. This is not her first job. um, she's still newer than me to this company, and she's more of a back end person. And she she's very good in the back end, but she still needs some. She's still learning JavaScript in the front end. So it's at least having her there and being able to like teach her things about JavaScript, or having somebody that knows a little bit less than I do when it comes to at least certain things. It's, I don't know. I guess it builds a lot of confidence, and it takes away a little bit of the imposter syndrome that I have, because you know it's I feel like at the beginning I feel like I didn't know anything, and now I feel like, oh look, I might actually know something because I'm teaching people other stuff. So if I'm teaching people other stuff, that means I know something, I guess. So that's a good feeling. And then with the intern, I mean, she's just getting started in her career. She's only I think she's gonna be a junior in college, so she's still got like 3 more years, or 2 or 3 more years before she actually works as a developer. um, but it's you know she tells me that I know a lot of stuff when I explain things to her, and I know that's not like a big deal, but I guess it reminds me of when I was in that stage where I knew barely anything, and and I was looking up at other people like, wow, you know so much, like that's awesome. And now like some people at least are looking at me that way. Not the senior devs because they're still got more experience than me and know more than me pretty much about everything. Um, but with the more junior people, the fact that I'm able to like teach them stuff, and the fact that they think that I'm a good developer, I guess that feels pretty good and builds confidence in a way. So yeah. Now my plan is my team takes care of a lot of different services and apps. There's one thing that's the main thing, but we do well, there's two things that are really big that we take care of, and everything else is like little apps that we don't really touch like every day or maintain every day. But out of the two big things, I've been focusing on one, and pretty much like learning that one very well and doing a lot of things on that one, um, and not really taking too much time to learn all the other stuff that my team takes care of. That's kind of like when I mentioned earlier that my team uses Kotlin now, because we have a couple of projects that are built using Kotlin, but I haven't really learned it, and because I haven't really touched any projects. So now I think that my next goal is gonna be to try to expand out and learn this the different projects that we have, instead of just being really good at one of them like I have been. I kind of been like doing every time that I'm working on something, I try to pick something for that, for that app, and building something for the app, and doing stuff in the front end and doing stuff in the back end, and everything that I have been doing is pretty much for the one of the big apps that we have. So now I'm gonna try to dabble into the other stuff, and learn more about those, which is kind of also it's related to what happened yesterday when I said I made a little mistake and did something the hard way when there was an easier way to do it when I was on support. It was because I wasn't too familiar with some of the other things that my team takes care of. So that's gonna be the next goal: getting more familiar with those things, and yeah, and then I want to start building. I really want to start building something um, for myself, a personal project, and hopefully I start that soon. Um, on my work, we used to have a Node application. Well, we still have Node applications, but they're not like REST APIs, which is what I'm talking about. So we have like Node scripts and Node services that like generate queries or do a lot of tasks for us so that we don't have to do it manually. But the one REST API that we used to have, we got rid of it because Java was a better tool for that specific job, because Java had better libraries to connect with a thing that we needed to connect with. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is that we don't have a Node API at work anymore, or a Node REST API, and that's something that I want to learn because it's something that I want to use in my personal projects. So right now I'm doing I want to start looking at tutorials on that, um, get exactly how Express works and all that stuff, um, and then hopefully start working on some personal projects and get things done. And hopefully I can get a couple of personal things, personal projects done before the end of the year. So yeah, that's the next goal, and career wise, and then yeah, then everything else I guess is personal, like saving money, things like that. Yeah. All right. So let me answer some of the questions here for 5 seconds, and then I'm gonna talk about something else that I wanted to bring up relating to my next videos. Great company. Yeah, it is a great company. Before I was a dev, I used to work for a carrier service that did all their mail runs in Louisville. Yeah, man, they're pretty cool. I can't complain, man. They treat me really well, um, and it's almost like they're one of the few corporate companies like that still have like a little bit of the startup mentality, where it's like, not like a suit and tie company. Omar, looking back after working 1 year as a junior dev for a year, what would you do definitely? Omar, looking back after working as a junior dev for a year, what would you do definitely? I think he mean differently. What would I have done differently? Um, Now that I'm looking back in a year, uh, what would I have done differently? Um, that's a good question. That's a good question. What would I have done differently? Well, there was a time where I felt like I wasted too much time learning CSS. Before I got this job, I was really, really good at CSS. Um, I mean, I was really good. I feel like like I could go and answer other people's questions, um, and I spent a lot of time doing a lot of web design stuff. Then when I got this job, it's like, hey man, like, what? You don't need to touch CSS, man. That's done by, we do that like when we first build the app, and then after that, like, we're working on business logic and not really doing a lot of stuff with CSS. And So yeah, at the beginning I used to think like maybe I wasted too much time with CSS. Instead of learning so much CSS, I could have learned Java, or I could have learned more, React or Angular or something something that would have been more useful. Um, so that's kind of how I felt at that time. But now it's like, eh, since I still got the job and it's like things are working out. It's like I'm glad that I got the CSS knowledge now. I don't remember that much because CSS is a lot of memory. Um, I feel like there's a lot of things that you just kind of have to remember, um, and and yeah, like for example, like property names, it's easy to forget, like things like, I don't know. For me, it's easy to forget property names, especially when you're doing things like when you do things like, for example, like background. I know like the order in which, if you do like CSS and then you put background, you can do like background dash color and then put just the color. But you could also just do background without the dash color, and then you can put a bunch of properties. You can put where it's positioned. You can put where it is. If you can put what image it is, what color to put when there is no image, and or you can put a gradient, and all that things go to like in a certain order. Like there was a time where I knew all the stuff before I got my job as a developer, because I was doing more like web design stuff, and now it's like I don't remember none of that crap. Like, I mean, I remember what I told you. Like, I guess I know enough now that I could go back, and then I wouldn't be able to work in CSS fast, but at least I guess I know enough that I kind of have little clues on kind of how some things work, and maybe I won't be able to like just code it, but maybe I can get on Google and then find out. Like for example, with the background thing, like I don't remember the order that all the freaking things go, and but I can probably Google it and find out. Obviously, it would be a lot slower than somebody that does that all the time and that actually does a lot of web design all the time. But but yeah, so I don't really regret it. But there was a point where, like, before I actually got hired, where I was like during that trial period, that I thought, oh crap, maybe I shouldn't wasted so much time on CSS because they don't really care about that much. What they actually want me to do is actually like be a programmer and actually program stuff. So I wish I would have spent more time doing that. So yeah, there was a time that I felt like that. Since things ended up working out anyways, I don't feel that like that so much anymore. 。  . 。 。 . 。 . 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. . 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. . 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. 。. Do you feel like you are getting paid your worth? Is this like a life question by Victor Garcia? This sounds like a deep question. Like, do you feel like you're getting paid what you're worth? So, uh, it feels weird because it's kind of like, is this all you're worth? What they're paying you? Is that what all that your life is worth? um, but no, if I try not to make it so like deep like that, um, I feel like they're, I feel like they're paying me. Cool. I feel like they're paying me well compared to like what my skills are and what I bring to the team. I can complain. I can complain, especially with me being a junior. I feel like there's a lot of things that sometimes I'm not able to like finish. And okay, I'm gonna give you a perfect example of that. So there was a ticket or a story to do to make to modify the way that or web app works, and completely modify the way that this really complicated form thing works. And it requires not only the way that it works, but the way that it saves, the way that it retrieve, that it retrieve things in the back end. So it requires a lot of back end work and a lot of front end work. Like basically, we have to redesign like a whole little section of the app. I looked at the ticket like before I picked it up, um, and I was like, wow, like that sounds like a big challenge. But at the same time, it's like it's a lot of things in Java. I've been working in Java, and it's a lot of thing in a lot of things in React, and I'm pretty good with React now, so I can definitely do this. But it might take me a while, but I can do it. So I picked it up, and then I picked it up, and I was making progress every day. And I mean, and you know, and I got stuck like you always do when you're a developer. You get stuck at places, but then I found the answer, or I found a way out, and I was making progress every day. Um, but then it came to a point where where it was, there was I was working on that thing for more than 2 weeks, um, and we cut it in pieces, so that if something takes that long, like we try to cut work into pieces, and nothing takes that long. So if there's a thing that's going to take a month to build, we cut it up into like four things. So four things that only take a week, for example. So this thing, like as a team, before I picked it up, we kind of like estimated it, and we thought that it was gonna take about a week, week and a half. But then it was taking me 2 weeks, and then it was like 2 weeks and a half, and I was still not done. Like I was making progress every day, but it was just slow because there was a lot of things that, even though I was figuring it out, um, I was going pretty much a lot slower than like a senior person would go. So then, um, because I was taking so long and they needed that done, then I paired with a senior developer in my group, and basically he helped me get it done faster, and he actually started driving, and we got it done faster because he helped me. So things like that kind of make me feel like that's kind of like the level that I'm at. Like I can get things done, but it's not as efficient as like a senior person that that doesn't have to think about these things so much like I do, and doesn't have to figure out like what design pattern to use to build this type of software or whatever. They just know it. You know what I mean? Oh well, for that I know that this is the best design pattern, so let me just do that, and they just go on their computer and they just do it a lot faster than I can. So it kind of made me feel like, wow, like they're paying me, and I wasn't even able to get the thing that they wanted done on time. But at the same time, it's kind of like, hey, at least like I'm doing stuff. um, so yeah, I feel like if I was able to get things like that done in a timely manner, then I would feel like, oh yeah, like I am really 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 good at this. I need like some better money. I need like some intermediate money. I don't need junior developer money anymore, or I don't want junior developer money anymore. But I'm still at a point where I can get things done, but I still need help a lot of times. And even when I can get it done by myself, sometimes I'm getting it done, but it's just too slow, and I still need some help from the seniors. And that's when working on big things. If I pick up like smaller things, I'm able to get it done by myself, no problem. Um, but yeah, I feel like I'm getting paid well for what I bring to the table. If anything, I feel like, um, if anything, in a way, I feel like because of that little insecurity that I get, like for example with that story that I just told you about when that I wasn't able to get it done in a timely manner. It makes me feel a little bit insecure, or I guess, or it's like a subliminal type of like disappointing feeling when I picked up something because I thought I was gonna get it done, but I wasn't really able to get it done by myself because I was taking too long. So it makes me think negative in a in a way a little bit, and it makes me feel like wow, well, like they're paying me and I'm not even getting the things done. So sometimes when things like that happen, it kind of makes me feel like, oh, like they're probably paying me like too much for what I bring to the table because I have like those insecurities and things like that in my head. Um, but at the same time, I'm learning every day, and maybe right now there's gonna be things that I'm slow, and they're paying me well, and it probably is kind of like like it would have been better to just pay a more senior person a little more and actually get it done. But at the same time, once I learn more and I stay there, then I'm gonna be like the other person, like the senior developer that came and help me, where they pay him really well for like what a for like a for an individual to get paid, you know but at the same time, even though they're paying him really well, he's doing in I don't know, in one day or one week he can make he can do so much work that literally millions of people that will affect millions and millions of people, and that can eventually make them millions and millions of dollars. So you know I guess it goes both ways. Maybe on me, let's say that maybe they're not getting the best deal because I'm still a junior and they're paying me well, but there's some things that I don't get done the way that other people do. But at the same time, on the senior people, they're paying them well, but they can do things that literally affect millions of people and can and, and can make or break the website. Um, so on those, they're getting a great deal. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like how things balance out. A senior developer is pretty much indispensable because they bring so much value, and then the junior ones is kind of like, yeah, there's gonna be times where they're not gonna be able to get things done, but at the same time, you're training them, and one day they will, and then when they do get a lot of things done, then it's gonna what you're paying them is not gonna be it's not gonna be a big problem compared to all the value that they're gonna bring. Don't get discouraged. It will happen. Yeah, that's what I've been told by the more senior people, and that's what I try to that's what I try to stick to. Okay, so the next question was, Omar, where should I concentrate my learning? Um, where should you concentrate your learning? I think you want to concentrate your learning in what's gonna make you in what's gonna make you. Yeah, my hair is crazy. You should concentrate your learning on something that's gonna make you valuable to a team. So, for example, with me, like I was saying my story earlier about CSS, um, I before I started working, I know I had those second thoughts about spending so much time learning CSS because my team they didn't need help with CSS. The CSS is already written, and yeah, so they don't need that much help with CSS. I don't touch CSS that often. So if you're a junior developer, I would say try to concentrate your learning first of all in something that you like and are passionate about. So if you literally love CSS and that's what you want to do, then I would do that even if maybe that's not what most companies are looking for. But if it's not something like that, then I would try to learn something that would be valuable for the team. So, for example, if you already have a job and you're a junior developer, and your team works on Java a lot, but you only do JavaScript, then try to learn Java so that you can bring value to your team. If you're not hired and you're just looking for like still looking for your first job or still training yourself to get your first job. Then what I would recommend, it's the you decide what type of career you are more interested in having. And one way to decide that is, maybe, maybe it's not that hard. Maybe it's just like, you know what, I just like doing things with computer. I don't really care what it is. I just want to do things with computer. So in that case, you can just look in your area, see what the companies that are hiring there are looking for. So if you see a lot of, like, let's say you live in a big, I don't know, let's say you live in a city where there's a lot of, like, corporations that use .NET and use Java. um, in that case, I would probably recommend to learn .NET, or learn Java, and do things like that. Or if you're in a city where there's just more like there's not really companies like that, or a lot of big companies are hiring for .NET and Java. They're more hiring for, like, for, like, little web designers, to make, like, little agencies and things like that, instead of, like, big corporations where you're gonna be, like, building sites for, like, I don't know, like the restaurant down the street, or the new, I don't know, fitness gym network or something. You know, if you're gonna be working for an agency, then I would probably say focus more on JavaScript, um, in the front end. But yeah, just, if you're not, if you're not really, like, super passionate about something, or, like, if that is the thing that you want to learn, then I would just say look in your area and try to learn those things. If everybody in your area is hiring for PHP, then maybe learn PHP. And um, but at the same time, don't be afraid to move out of your area. That's that's one of the, like, if you guys been following me, like I said, since my first video, I had to move to a different city to get my first job in the city that I used to live at. So yeah, don't be afraid to do that. So let's say you live in a state that is not that popular, like the city that you live in. Maybe the capital of that state is gonna have a lot more companies there, more jobs and more opportunity. So start going to meetups there, start meeting people there, and start getting your hustle on there, and building your name. I mean, building your name doesn't mean like everybody knows you. In my city, nobody knows me, but at least, like, at least a couple of people at the meetups and things like that, places like that, at least they see me there, and they see that I'm involved. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to a meetup in the morning, which means that I should probably be asleep. um, but I'm going to a meetup tomorrow morning on a Saturday night. Um, Sorry, on a Saturday morning. So I'm spending my Friday night on my computer. Actually, I was getting some work done until I started making this video. Um, but um, but yeah, tomorrow I'm going to a meetup and just kind of like building, just making connections. Um, and that's how I got my job. Was making connections, going to meetups. I went to all the meetups in my city, but the city that I lived, there wasn't much popping compared to other bigger cities that were around. So I started going to meetups in the bigger cities that were around. And yes, it kind of sucked because it was like, more than an hour of driving, hour and a half of driving, whatever, and then paying for parking and all that stuff, especially like especially for how broke I was. Um, but it paid off. So I would just, I would try to get involved with the community. For example, in my community, there's not a lot of PHP work. I mean, like the PHP work that is like WordPress, and it's not like even like what developers would consider like a developer job. It would be more like what people consider like web design. Like doing little WordPress things and things like that. I mean, that is being a developer. I don't want to knock on PHP because there's a lot of big companies that use PHP, like Facebook and things like that. I'm just saying in my area, when I go to meetups, when I go to um, to lunch and learns and things like that, where I meet other people and we learn about things. PHP is never like a topic that anybody wants to like even touch. No, nobody wants to talk about PHP. Nobody's that I know is hiring for PHP. People are hiring for like JavaScript, um, Java, .NET, Ruby on Rails, um, and that's just my city. I mean, you might live in a city where there's everybody's hiring for PHP. So yeah, just try to get involved with the community. On one of my past videos, I mentioned that I think that's one of the most important part, getting involved in the community, especially as a junior developer. Like, it's really hard for you to just pick up the phone and call, hey, Walmart, do you guys want to hire me? I know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Oh, you need somebody to work with the Cassandra database and be able to support something that's made in data stacks, that's made using data stacks library or something. I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's gonna be really hard for you to just call up companies and try to get a junior developer job like that. So that's why I always advise, try to go to the meetups, meetup.com, meet everyone, start building connections. If you're a self-taught developer like me, which I feel like most of the people that watch my channel are, meaning that you didn't go to school for it, yes, this is life now. Meaning that you didn't go to school for it, that you taught yourself, it's gonna be hard for you to have like a professor that's gonna help you, build connections and network and have the other students, and then you're gonna go to internships, and then you're gonna meet other students that go to internships, and then one of your friends that also went on an internship met somebody that works. I don't know. They went to an internship at Target or a Facebook, and then they met somebody, and then they tell you about that person, and now you like talking to that person. So if you're in college, then build your connections that way, and that's what a lot of college that's what a lot of people in college do. But if you're a self-taught developer that's literally in your house and you don't know anybody that's doing development, you don't your mom doesn't do development, your dad is not a developer, your cousins are all playing basketball, working somewhere else, I don't know, nobody's doing development. It's hard to just be on your computer and just watch me and watch Coding Face and watch the other people on YouTube. You also have to get involved in the local community. And like I say, if there's not really a big community in your city, travel to other cities, whatever it takes, but start meeting and start networking with developers, because you're gonna meet somebody that works at a company where they need somebody to do something, and chances are that you're gonna meet more than one person. Now, if you go to a developer meetup, for example, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Almost every developer that you meet there, chances are that a network with recruiters. Yes, that too. If you go to a web developer meetup, chances are that most of the people that are at that meetup, their companies are looking to hire people. The catch is that they're looking to hire people with experience. So if they're looking for a Java, I don't know, software architect, and you're like a HTML and CSS JavaScript guy, obviously you're not gonna qualify for that position. But there's gonna be those times where maybe they're looking for, maybe they're looking for a junior, and if you have the connections, that's how you will make that happen. Like I mentioned before too, that's how I eventually got my job, was going to meetups, building connections, meeting people, until eventually I found somebody that knew about a company that was willing to give a chance to junior developers, and he got me involved with that, you know and I ended up getting a job, and now I'm here. So some guy asked me on Snapchat earlier. Like I said, if you don't have me on Snapchat, you should, because I mean, if you're watching this right now or you're in this channel, it's because I guess you want some input, at least about my story and my journey. And on Snapchat, I post a lot more frequently than I do here. But a person asked me on Snapchat today, um, that he has an interview tomorrow, and he asked me for like advice for his interview, and I told him, man, honestly, maybe for that you might want to go to YouTube and find like another person. There's even like a lot of there's even a lot of videos talking specifically about interviews and interview questions. So go and do that, because in my experience it wasn't like that. I try like just applying and putting my resume up on websites and applying that way, try to get a job. But none of that worked in my case. Maybe, I mean, I'm not saying quit doing that, because it might work for you, but for me, what worked was going out there, getting involved in the community, and and meeting people, and that's what eventually got me a job. Not like calling places and doing like traditional interviews and things like that. My interview for my job was not a traditional interview. I didn't, it wasn't like a phone screening and things like that. What I did was I went and I sat down with a senior developer, and we worked on a JavaScript app together. And that way, he actually saw the way that I worked, how slow I was, how fast I was, how much I knew, because he's literally sitting there with me and we're coding together. He's getting a better feel than if he were just asking me JavaScript question like, what are closures in JavaScript, and then you can easily tell them, well, closures are when a function keeps a reference to the scope in which it was declared or whatever. Like, people can learn those stuff just to like answer the interview questions. So his approach was a little bit different. We sat down, we coded, and then he said, and then he actually took like a more fair assessment, in my opinion. But yeah, I think, I'm not saying that that's going to happen to everybody, but in my opinion, don't only apply, on Indeed and in your house, in your basement. Go out there, meet the community, talk to the community, and that's probably gonna increase your chances by like 10 times or something, in my opinion, to actually land a job. If you go to a meetup, let's say every Wednesday, you go to a meetup every Wednesday for developers, and you see all these senior developers every day on a Wednesday, and you're getting better every day, and you see, you're meeting all these people, and you see them, you go to the same meetup, and these people see you there every Wednesday, and every day they see you improving. Who do you think they're gonna who do you think is gonna be one of the first people they think about when their company needs a junior developer, or when their company needs some help with something that doesn't necessarily require a senior, but it could be somebody that has a little less experience? They're gonna think about you. So, if you do that in a lot of different groups, and you have all these people that know that you're hustling, and that know that you're learning and getting better every day, and you show them your projects and things like that, then 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 I think that's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. You're gonna have a lot of chances of getting a job as a developer. Like I said in a lot of my videos before, the good thing about this career is that there is not, will I get a job as a developer, or if I get a job as a developer. If you learn the skills and you learn what you need to, you will get a job. You will. Period. There is no if and buts. There's more people looking for developers than there are developers. Period. Period. The catch is that as a junior, you don't have the skills that they're necessarily looking for. But if you don't quit, and you stay on it, and you stay on it, and you stay on it, you know, you eventually gonna get those skills. Chances are that you are gonna get a job as a junior before you get all the skills that you need to be like an intermediate developer. But in the worst case scenario, it just takes longer. But eventually, if you keep working and you get the skills, you will get a job. Period. Period. In your interview, did they ask you to do things that were definitely over your head? Um, or did they ask you a lot of vocabulary? Again, my interview was not a traditional interview, so I was just working I was just working on a program with a more senior developer, and there wasn't really a script. We just kind of sat there, and there was an app, and there was like, okay, it was a simple JavaScript thing. He was like, okay, we want to make some modification to this. What do you think we should do? And we kind of both gave input and say, okay, we want to do this because I think it would be simple, and it's something that we can do like before like without taking the whole day. Something we can do in an hour or two. And we worked on that, and we actually didn't even get it done. But he sat there, he saw me write functions, he saw me write code, and that's how he made his decision. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm only at week 3, but so much info stressed me out to remember everything. What do you mean you're only at week 3 of learning development? I don't know what you mean that you're at week 3. You're an inspiration for a lot of upcoming self-taught devs. Omar, keep doing your thing. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Oh, in this bootcamp, do you know how to ask for help? Do you know where to get answers? Stack Overflow. Yeah, I don't know if you're asking me or if you're telling, but yeah, I mean, just don't be afraid to ask for help. Hopefully, you don't work with a lot of ignorant people. I know I've been blessed to work with a lot of people that are not ignorant, so they're always like willing to teach me, and and that's something that I notice a lot about developers. I feel like you always hear about like the asshole developer or something like that. What I feel like in this industry is like everybody wants to help out. Everybody wants to help out. I feel like there's like a feel good. I feel like there's a good feeling about helping out others. So, I mean, for example, me, like I'm just a I'm just a junior developer. I'm not a senior developer. I am not out here selling courses and making money. Um, and even though I'm like such at a young stage of my career, I still feel like this urge to like share my knowledge and teach other people. Like this channel, for example. I don't teach a lot of technical things because again I'm a junior developer, but but I I still share my knowledge at least about career stuff. And at work, for example, like I said, I was teaching like other people that knew a little less React than me. I was teaching them React and things like that. And I actually like had like a little room and where I was teaching people React, people that were not familiar with React. And I'm just a junior dev. I don't know. It just kind of feels good, and I feel like a lot of developers, especially more seniors, I feel like they like teaching. I don't know if it's like secretly. I don't know if like secretly it's just like a thing that like I don't know gives you more ego or makes you feel like you're smart when you're teaching other. Um, I don't know what it is exactly, like psychologically, but I just know that it feels good to teach other people. So in a way, it feels like you learn when you teach other people, because sometimes you have things in your head that you kind of understand it, but they're a little more abstract. But when you have to explain it to somebody, it's like you have to like literally organize your thoughts before you explain it to somebody else. um, so so yeah, I feel like people really like doing people really like teaching other people, so that's great. So that way when you have questions you can just ask, and it makes it a lot easier when you're a junior dev. Googling is a talent, and yes, definitely Googling. Yeah, I'm not the best at it, um, but Googling is definitely a talent. Like you have no idea, like how right this math guy is. Googling is a talent. Like for example, me when I Google stuff, I Google like a regular person. I go on Google, I type what I'm looking for, and I look at the links. I see like at the little description before I click on it from Google, and then if it seems like it relates to what I'm doing, I click on it, and then I read the freaking article. See if I read it, like I read the title, blah 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 blah, and start reading a little bit, start reading a little, and read the thing to see if it helps me. But like the senior devs, it's like they literally have a skill. They type what they're looking for on Google, and then they do the same thing that I do. They kind of read the little title that they have, but then they click on the thing, and it's like they don't even read it. I don't know. This literally makes no sense. Like me, I have to see if the article is gonna help me. I have to read it, but it's like they just scroll through it like, nope, that's not gonna help me. They go to another one, nope, they go to another one, and they go through like 9 articles in like 30 seconds, and they find the one that they were looking for like so fast. Like it's literally like a skill. I have no idea how they do it. My only assumption is that they just must be able to read so freaking fast, but I don't know how they do it. If something is Yes, Googling is a talent. If something is more than 5 years old, I don't even look at it. Yeah, that makes sense. How old are you, Omar, if you're comfortable sharing? I will be 26 next month, so I'm 25 right now. Yep, next month I will be 26. So, anyways, it's officially being an hour, so I want to cut it short. Well, not cut it short. I want to cut it about right here because it's taking too long. Um, but yes, I hope my 1 year update helps somebody. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Now, I am welcoming video ideas because I don't know. I don't really want to take like the time to like I said earlier. I don't. It's hard like to learn development and then try to keep a YouTube channel afloat. So even if you can just tell me like questions that you have or video ideas. If you're gonna teach me an idea, please like at least go through my videos and and make sure that it's like not dead already. Because for example, like I made a video about like what computer to get for a developer, and because so many people ask me that and people still ask me that, so it's kind of like, yeah, I made a video. But yeah, if you can teach me new ideas, that would be great. I made, I think I already made the most important video that I could possibly make, um, which is I forgot what it's called. Let me see. So that if you haven't watched it, you definitely need to watch it because I think this is like the most important video that I could ever make. Um, but it is called "The Secret to Be a Successful Self-Taught Developer." It's only 21 minutes long, so it's not gonna be as long as this. But I think that everything that you need to know, it's in that video. The secret to be a successful self-taught developer. Like honestly, you can just come in this channel, watch that video, and then leave. Everything else is just more like extra stuff on top of that. So at the same time, because I feel like, at the same time, this channel is more to document my career. This channel is to document my career and also to to help other people that were in the same situation that I was. And because of that, now that I have this video that I think is pretty much all the help that you actually need, now it's like everything else is just extra. So sometimes it's hard to come up with like titles, or not titles, but to come up with video ideas, because I think in that video is everything that you need to know to go from zero to becoming a developer when it comes to career advice. It's not gonna tell you what a variable is or what a for loop is, but I think it's gonna tell you like the attitude and the steps that you need to take um, to make sure that you have success as a self-taught developer, in my opinion and based on my experience. But other than that, I still wanna help you guys. You guys still have a lot of questions, and if it's something that I have some experience with, I'm I wanna share it. So please ask me, and yes, in the comments below, make sure you leave your video ideas or whatever questions you have, so that I can make videos about them. Um, since like I said, I'm kind of running out of ideas or whatever. Make sure you add me on LinkedIn, most importantly. Then after LinkedIn, either Instagram or Snapchat. On Snapchat, I post a lot more frequently. Um, but yeah, I think I'm a good person to add on Snapchat. I mean, there's a lot of people that you probably have on Snapchat that are not doing shit. At least I try to do stuff. um, but yeah, thank you guys. Have a good. What's your username on Snapchat? Is O Suriel P. Here I'm gonna put it on the description. All right, so on Snapchat, crap. On Snapchat, it's O Suriel P. Oh, that is backwards on the camera, isn't it? Yeah. And then I'm sorry. And then on Instagram is Suriel Media. I'm sorry, the camera. I'm using my front facing camera, so the video is reversed. And yeah, yeah, I'm doing it. Anyways, this is taking too long, but it's there we go. So it's Suriel P on Snapchat, and then on Instagram is Suriel P on Snapchat, and on Instagram is Suriel Media. I have to. I literally just wrote it backwards since I'm using the front facing camera and the video is split. Well, thank you guys. Um, please follow me. Oh, and actually, make sure you get your Twitter game on. And on Twitter is also Suriel Media, just like my Instagram. But make sure you're on Twitter because I didn't like Twitter and still kind of don't. But going to conference and meeting like people like developers that are actually like that are actually like famous, and things like that. I finally understand how Twitter works, and it's like to me kind of it was annoying using Twitter because it's like Twitter is so I can know what other people are doing, and I don't give a crap about what other people are doing. I feel like most people use it to follow like celebrities and singers and artists and things like that. And it's like I don't give a crap what other people are doing. I couldn't get used to being on Twitter, especially because you kind of have to like beg people to follow you and things like that. Well, now it makes sense why developers are on Twitter, and it is because in Twitter is where the conversations happen. On Twitter is where things happen, and the thing is that literally, the creator of React can say one thing, and if you don't agree with it, you can retweet them back and be like, actually, I don't think that's true. You can do it this way, and then it's like it literally is like an equalizer where anybody can post an opinion and you can be involved in the conversation of what's actually happening so quick. So if you're a developer, it's like at this point you have to be on Twitter. I'm just getting used to it. I don't even, I think I only have like 10 followers, but it finally makes sense, and I'm actually now following the right people. Before I was following like people that I shouldn't be following, like sports people and things like that, celebrities, and that's why I never used it. But now that I'm following developers, I'm like, it's literally every time I get on Twitter, I learn stuff, and yeah, that is right. Every time I get on Twitter, I learn stuff, and I'm seeing like all these things, all the things that are happening and related to development. So I think if you are a developer, you have to be on Twitter nowadays. Now it makes sense because I never understood like I hate Twitter so much, but it seems to be like the most popular network between developers. Um, well, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense why it is. I finally had somebody explain it to me, um, and it makes sense. Maybe maybe I make a video getting into the details of that later. And but yes, please follow me on Twitter. That way, maybe I can break the 10 followers barrier or milestone. Um, but yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night. I need to go to bed because I need to wake up to go to that meetup tomorrow. So thank you, and that's it. I'll see you guys later. Peace. How do I end this thing?